Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Make a pretense of. She assumed indifference, even though she was seething with anger. Put clothing on one's body. The queen assumed the stately robes. Take on as one's own the expenses or debts of another person. Seize and take control without authority and possibly with force, take as one's right or possession. He assumed to himself the right to fill all positions in the town. Take on a certain form, attribute, or aspect. She assumed strange manners. Take on titles, offices, duties, responsibilities. When will the new president assume office? Occupy or take on. He assumes the lotus position. Take to be the case or to be true, except without verification or proof. I assume his train was late. Take up someone's soul into heaven. This is the day when Mary was assumed into heaven. Make a pretense of. He feigned sleep. Make believe with the intent to deceive. He feigned that he was ill. Adopted in order to deceive. Sham modesty. Make a pretense of. Something that is a counterfeit, not what it seems to be. A person who makes deceitful pretenses. Make believe with the intent to deceive. He shammed a headache. Make a pretense of. Create a representation or model of. Reproduce someone's behavior or looks. The head of an organized crime family. Teacher at a university or college, especially at Cambridge or Oxford. Put clothing on one's body. The princess donned a long blue dress. A European river in southwestern Russia flows into the Sea of Azov. A Spanish courtesy title or form of address for men that is prefixed to the forename. A Spanish gentleman or nobleman. Celtic goddess. Mother of Gwydion and Arianrhod, corresponds to Irish Danu. To come or go into. Put clothing on one's body. Secure a place in a college, university, etc. Get involved in or with. Familiarize oneself thoroughly with. Fool or hoax. Adopted in order to deceive. Put clothing on one's body. He put on his best suit for the wedding. Apply to a surface. Carry out performances. Increase one's body weight. Prepare and supply with the necessary equipment for execution or performance. Add to something existing. She put on a sunroom. Add to the odometer. He put on 1,000 miles on this trip. Put on the stove or ready for cooking. Put on the tea, please. Exhaust or get tired through overuse or great strain or stress. Be dressed in. She was wearing yellow that day. The act of having on your person as a covering or adornment. She bought it for everyday wear. Have on one's person. Go to pieces. Put clothing on one's body. What should I wear today? A covering designed to be worn on a person's body. Deteriorate through use or stress. Last and be usable. Have in one's aspect. Wear an expression of one's attitude or personality. He always wears a smile. Have or show an appearance of. Wear one's hair in a certain way. Impairment resulting from long use. The tires showed uneven wear. Give an affirmative reply to. Respond favorably to. I cannot accept your invitation. Be designed to hold or take. Tolerate or accommodate oneself to. I shall have to accept these unpleasant working conditions. Admit into a group or community. Accept students for graduate study. Take on as one's own the expenses or debts of another person. All accept the charges. Make use of or accept for some purpose. Receive willingly something given or offered. Please accept my present. Be sexually responsive to, used of a female domesticated mammal. The cow accepted the bull. Consider or hold as true. I cannot accept the dogma of this church. React favorably to. Consider right and proper. People did not accept atonal music at that time. Receive, a report, officially, as from a committee. Put up with something or somebody unpleasant. I cannot bear his constant criticism. Have on one's person. Bear a scar. Bring forth. Take on as one's own the expenses or debts of another person. She agreed to bear the responsibility. Behave in a certain manner. Cause to be born. Have rightfully. Of rights, titles, and offices. She bears the title of Duchess. Contain or hold. Have within. Bring in. Interest-bearing accounts. Support or hold in a certain manner. Be pregnant with. She is bearing his child. An investor with a pessimistic market outlook. An investor who expects prices to fall and so sells now in order to buy later at a lower price. Have. Bear a resemblance. Massive plantigrade carnivorous or omnivorous mammals with long shaggy coats and strong claws. Move while holding up or supporting. Bear a heavy load. Take up, as of debts or payments. Free someone temporarily from his or her obligations. Take over ownership of corporations and companies. Do over. Take up and practice as one's own. Take on as one's own the expenses or debts of another person. Seize and take control without authority and possibly with force. Take as one's right or possession. Take on titles, offices, duties, responsibilities. Make undue claims to having. Seize and take control without authority and possibly with force. Take as one's right or possession. Demand as being one's due or property. Assert one's right or title to. Take possession of by force, as after an invasion. The invaders seized the land and property of the inhabitants. Take temporary possession of as a security, by legal authority. The FBI seized the drugs. Take hold of, grab. The sales clerk quickly seized the money on the counter. Seize and take control without authority and possibly with force, take as one's right or possession. She seized control of the throne after her husband died. Effect. Fear seized the prisoners. Capture the attention or imagination of. The movie seized my imagination. Hook by a pull on the line. Take or capture by force. The terrorists seized the politicians. Seize and take control without authority and possibly with force, take as one's right or possession. He usurped my rights. Take the place of. Gloom had usurped mirth at the party after the news of the terrorist act broke. Come to have or undergo a change of physical features and attributes. Gain through experience. I acquired a strong aversion to television. Gain knowledge or skills. Children acquire language at an amazing rate. Win something through one's efforts. I acquired a passing knowledge of Chinese. Come into the possession of something concrete or abstract. They acquired a new pet. Take on a certain form, attribute, or aspect. Locate, a moving entity, by means of a tracking system such as radar. Put into dramatic form. Adopt a book for a screenplay. Take into one's family. They adopted 2 children from Nicaragua. Choose and follow, as of theories, ideas, policies, strategies or plans. Take up and practice as one's own. Take on a certain form, attribute, or aspect. He adopted an air of superiority. Take on titles, offices, duties, responsibilities. Take up the cause, ideology, practice, method, of someone and use it as one's own. They adopted the Jewish faith. The income or profit arising from such transactions as the sale of land or other property. Be capable of holding or containing. This box won't take all the items. Remove something concrete, as by lifting, pushing, or taking off, or remove something abstract. Take the gun from your pocket. Serve oneself to, or consume regularly. I don't take sugar in my coffee. Make a film or photograph of something. Take a scene. Be designed to hold or take. This surface will not take the die. Require, time or space. Take somebody somewhere. Can you take me to the main entrance? Have sex with, archaic use. He had taken this woman when she was most vulnerable. Have with oneself, have on one's person. She always takes an umbrella. Receive or obtain regularly. We take the Times every day. Admit into a group or community. Head into a specified direction. Pick out, select, or choose from a number of alternatives. Take into consideration for exemplifying purposes. Assume, as of positions or roles. Interpret something in a certain way. Convey a particular meaning or impression. How should I take this message? Lay claim to, as of an idea. Accept or undergo, often unwillingly. Make use of or accept for some purpose. Take a risk. Take something or somebody with oneself somewhere. Engage for service under a term of contract. Shall we take a guide in Rome? Be stricken by an illness, fall victim to an illness. Take on a certain form, attribute, or aspect. Take as an undesirable consequence of some event or state of affairs. Get into one's hands, take physically. Can you take this bag, please? Require as useful, just, or proper. It takes nerve to do what she did. Occupy or take on. Receive willingly something given or offered. Be a student of a certain subject. Proceed along in a vehicle. Point or cause to go, blows, weapons, or objects such as photographic equipment, towards. Ascertain or determine by measuring, computing or take a reading from a dial. Take a pulse. Be seized or affected in a specified way. Take sick. Buy, select. I'll take a pound of that sausage. Carry out. Take action. Experience or feel or submit to. Obtain by winning. Winner takes all. Take by force. Take into one's possession. I'll take 3 salmon steaks. The act of photographing a scene or part of a scene without interruption. Travel or go by means of a certain kind of transportation, or a certain route. He takes the bus to work. Contend against an opponent in a sport, game, or battle. Admit into a group or community. Take on a certain form, attribute, or aspect. Take on titles, offices, duties, responsibilities. Accept as a challenge. Drive something violently into a location. A conspicuous success. A gentle blow. A score in 10 pins, knocking down all 10 with the first ball. He finished with 3 strikes in the 10th frame. Make a strategic, offensive, assault against an enemy, opponent, or a target. We must strike the enemy's oil fields. Affect or afflict suddenly, usually adversely. Touch or seem as if touching visually or audibly. Find unexpectedly. Remove by erasing or crossing out or as if by drawing a line. Please strike this remark from the record. Cause to experience suddenly. Have an emotional or cognitive impact upon. Form by stamping, punching, or printing. Strike coins. Smooth with a strickle. A group's refusal to work in protest against low pay or bad work conditions. The strike lasted more than a month before it was settled. Stop work in order to press demands. Produce by manipulating keys or strings of musical instruments. The pianist strikes a middle C. Occupy or take on. Strike a pose. Hit against. Come into sudden contact with. Attain. An attack that is intended to seize or inflict damage on or destroy an objective. The strike was scheduled to begin at dawn. Arrive at after reckoning, deliberating, and weighing. Strike a balance. Baseball. A pitch that the batter swings at and misses, or that the batter hits into foul territory, or that the batter does not swing it but the umpire judges to be in the area over home plate and between the batter's knees and shoulders. This pitcher throws more strikes than balls. Cause to form an electric arc between electrodes of an arc lamp. Strike an arc. Deliver a sharp blow, as with the hand, fist, or weapon. The opponent refused to strike. Disassemble a temporary structure, such as a tent or a theatrical set. After the show, we'll have to strike the set and pack up. Indicate a certain time by striking. Pierce with force. Produce by ignition or a blow. Strike fire from the flintstone. Take up a liquid or a gas either by adsorption or by absorption. Begin work or acting in a certain capacity, office or job. Adopt. Take up new ideas. Return to a previous location or condition. Take up and practice as one's own. Accept. Take out or up with or as if with a scoop. Take in, also metaphorically. Take up as if with a sponge. Occupy or take on. Pursue or resume. Take up a matter for consideration. Take up time or space. Take up the slack. Turn one's interest to. Take upon oneself. Act presumptuously, without permission. Take to be the case or to be true. Accept without verification or proof. Constitute reasonable evidence for. A restaurant bill presumes the consumption of food. Take liberties or act with too much confidence. Take to be the case or to be true. Accept without verification or proof. Pretend to have certain qualities or state of mind. He acted the idiot. Behave unnaturally or affectedly. She's just acting. Something that people do or cause to happen. A legal document codifying the result of deliberations of a committee or society or legislative body. Perform an action, or work out or perform an action. Think before you act. A short performance that is part of a longer program. He did his act 3 times every evening. Perform on a stage or theater. She acts in this play. Have an effect or outcome, often the one desired or expected. How does your idea work in practice? Behave in a certain manner. Show a certain behavior. Conduct or comport oneself. You should act like an adult. Play a role or part. She wants to act Lady Macbeth, but she is too young for the role. A manifestation of insincerity. He put on quite an act for her benefit. A subdivision of a play or opera or ballet. Be engaged in an activity, often for no particular purpose other than pleasure. Be suitable for theatrical performance. This scene acts well. Discharge one's duties. She acts as the chair. Behave unnaturally or affectedly. The enactment of a pretense. It was just pretend. Represent fictitiously, as in a play, or pretend to be or act like. State insincerely. She pretended not to have known the suicide bomber. Imagined as in a play. Dangling their legs in the water to catch pretend fish. Make believe with the intent to deceive. Put forward, of a guess, in spite of possible refutation. I cannot pretend to say that you are wrong. Put forward a claim and assert right or possession of. Pretend the title of king. Behave unnaturally or affectedly. Hide under a false appearance. Make believe with the intent to deceive. Put on clothes. Cultivate, tend, and cut back the growth of. Dress the plants in the garden. Suitable for formal occasions. A full dress uniform. Kill and prepare for market or consumption. Dress a turkey. A one-piece garment for a woman, has skirt and bodice. Of an occasion, requiring formal clothes. A dress dinner. Put on clothes. We had to dress quickly. Decorate, food, as with parsley or other ornamental foods. Clothing in general. Fastidious about his dress. Provide with clothes or put clothes on. Parents must feed and dress their child. Arrange in ranks. Dress troops. Dress or groom with elaborate care. She likes to dress when going to the opera. Provide with decoration. Dress the windows. Give a neat appearance to. Dress the horses. Dress in a certain manner. She dresses in the latest Paris fashion. Arrange attractively. Dress my hair for the wedding. Clothing of a distinctive style or for a particular occasion. Battle dress. Apply a bandage or medication to. Dress the victim's wounds. Convert into leather. Dress the tanned skins. Cut down rough-hewn lumber to standard thickness and width. Put a dressing on. Dress the salads. Put a finish on. Dress the surface smooth. Lay aside, abandon, or leave for another. The car changed lanes. Cause to change, make different, cause a transformation. The discussion has changed my thinking about the issue. Exchange or replace with another, usually of the same kind or category. He changed his name. An event that occurs when something passes from one state or phase to another. The change was intended to increase sales. Become different in some particular way, without permanently losing one's or its former characteristics or essence. Her mood changes in accordance with the weather. Give to, and receive from, one another. Would you change places with me? Become deeper in tone. His voice began to change when he was 12 years old. Change from one vehicle or transportation line to another. She changed in Chicago on her way to the East Coast. A difference that is usually pleasant. It is a refreshing change to meet a woman mechanic. A different or fresh set of clothes. She brought a change in her overnight bag. A relational difference between states, especially between states before and after some event. He attributed the change to their marriage. A thing that is different. He inspected several changes before selecting one. Change clothes. Put on different clothes. Coins of small denomination regarded collectively. He had a pocketful of change. Money received in return for its equivalent in a larger denomination or a different currency. He got change for a 20 and used it to pay the taxi driver. Remove or replace the coverings of. Father had to learn how to change the baby. The action of changing something. The change of government had no impact on the economy. The balance of money received when the amount you tender is greater than the amount due. I paid with a 20 and pocketed the change. The result of alteration or modification. There were marked changes in the lining of the lungs. Undergo a change. Become different in essence, losing one's or its original nature. She changed completely as she grew older. Assume an office, duty, or title. When will the new president take office? Give an incentive for action. This moved me to sacrifice my career. Be in a state of action. Change location. Move, travel, or proceed, also metaphorically. The soldiers moved towards the city in an attempt to take it before night fell. The act of changing location from one place to another. The movement of people from the farms to the cities. Cause to move or shift into a new position or place, both in a concrete and in an abstract sense. The director moved more responsibilities onto his new assistant. Perform an action, or work out or perform an action. We must move quickly. The act of changing your residence or place of business. They say that 3 moves equal 1 fire. Have a turn. Make one's move in a game. Have an emotional or cognitive impact upon. Follow a procedure or take a course. A change of position that does not entail a change of location. Movement as a sign of life. Progress by being changed. Propose formally, in a debate or parliamentary meeting. Arouse sympathy or compassion in. Her fate moved us all. Change residence, affiliation, or place of employment. We moved from Idaho to Nebraska. Dispose of by selling. The chairman of the company told the salesman to move the computers. Game. A player's turn to take some action permitted by the rules of the game. Go or proceed from one point to another. The debate moved from family values to the economy. Live one's life in a specified environment. She moves in certain circles only. Move so as to change position, perform a non-translational motion. He moved his hand slightly to the right. The act of deciding to do something. He didn't make a move to help. Regard something as probable or likely. Make a prediction about. Tell in advance. Be excited or anxious about. Act in advance of. Deal with ahead of time. Realize beforehand. Be a forerunner of or occur earlier than. This composition anticipates Impressionism.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.